Chris Eubank Jr. will face Matt Korobov on the undercard of Charlo versus Hogan on December 7th. This is a tough fight for Chris Eubank Jr. That's my first reaction to this. Matt Korobov was a top amateur. As a professional, he's maybe underachieved a little bit, but he's still very, very proficient. And in fact, Matt Korobov, some of you may remember, fought Jamal Charlo last year, and many people believe he actually beat Charlo. I know the scorecards don't reflect it, but scorecards often don't reflect the reality of what takes place in a boxing ring. Matt Korobov took that fight on short notice, and at the very least, he gave Jamal Charlo one of his toughest ever fights. So this guy is not a donut. He's not a cupcake. He's not a mug. He's still very viable. He's 28-2-1. The last fight he had was earlier on this year. He had a majority draw over 10 rounds. It was originally announced as a majority win for Korobov, but was changed to a draw after a scoring error was discovered. The individual who he fought, I can't say I'm too familiar with. But nonetheless, the other blemishes on Korobov's record, I already mentioned the Charlo blemish, and a lot of people feel like that was real close. The other one would be Andy Lee back in 2014, another fight which I did actually see. Korobov was outboxing Andy Lee up until the 6th round where he got caught with a shot and then stopped on his feet. But yeah, point is, Korobov is a very useful fighter, a technically sound fighter, a southpaw. This could be a serious banana skin for Chris Eubank Jr. They certainly haven't given him an easy fight for his first, foray into PBC proper. Because of course I believe was signed to PBC. Yeah, he was prior to the James DeGale fight. But that was in the UK. DeGale, it turned out, was totally washed up. So you do kind of scratch your head as to why they're putting Eubank Jr. in with Korobov rather than putting him in there with a Charlo. Because Charlo's fighting Hogan, Eubank's fighting Korobov. Like, why don't they just put Charlo in with Eubank? It seems like a more logical fight to make. I guess what they're trying to do is trying to find out whether Eubank Jr. is for real before they put him in with a Charlo or whoever. They want to find out if he can actually fight against someone who's just given Charlo a run for his money. Now, it's also going to be for the WBA interim middleweight title. Some people are asking, is it middle or super middle? No, it's going to be at middle. And there are obviously going to be people concerned with whether Eubank Jr. can yo-yo between weights, fighting at super middle for his past couple, dropping back down to middle. Will that affect him negatively? Remains to be seen. Some people feel like he's actually better at middle anyway, and his punches will have more authority against the smaller guys. But yeah, this is going to be 160. It'll be for the interim WBA title. When you look at the WBA rankings, you've got Canelo as the super champion and Murata as the regular champ. So who exactly would Chris Eubank Jr. be in line to face if he manages to beat Korobov? Would he be in line to face Canelo or Murata? I suspect it will probably be Murata, but you never know. The WBA and their multiple tiers of championship status is so confusing. Now, as I said at the start of this video or earlier on in this video, to me, it seems logical that they should be trying to make Charlo versus Eubank Jr. because Charlo is essentially frozen out maybe. So over there on PBC, he's looking lonely. They need to create their own little circuit, if you want, at world level in the middleweight division on PBC. So why not include Chris Eubank Jr. in that? Why not have him versus Charlo or, whoever else they've got at middleweight? Maybe that's the fight they will make. Maybe that's why they're putting Eubank Jr. on the undercard. And maybe this interim WBA belt is just window dressing. And they're not really looking to go down the WBA route. Eubank Jr. has held this title before, hasn't he? I'm sure he's been WBA interim middleweight world champion before. Didn't he fight Chudinov to get it? The lesser of the Chudinov brothers? I think he did. So maybe it's window dressing, and maybe him being on Charlo's undercard means they are actually going to fight. And that's what we're going to see maybe in 2020. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Again, Korobov is no mug. Technically very good. 36 years old, yes, but not that many miles on the clock. I know he's coming off an MD, then a loss. And some people are going to look at that and say, well, you know, form hasn't been great of late. As far as I'm concerned, his form was good in the Charlo fight. I didn't see his fight against Aleem, so I can't comment on that. And because he's technically good and always has been, that's going to cause problems for Chris Eubank Jr. I would be surprised, quite honestly, if Chris Eubank Jr. wins this fight easily. I'm expecting a very, very tricky night for Chris Eubank Jr. A fight he really could lose. I'm not saying he will, but I'm saying it's tough enough for it to be conceivable that he loses this. We've seen him in there against Billy Joe Saunders get outboxed. Is Korobov as good as Billy Joe? No, but he's a similar kind of style. And he'll know if Eubank Jr. hasn't improved his footwork and all that kind of stuff, even from the DeGale fight, Korobov will know how to pick him off, how to set traps and how to outbox him, basically. The advantage that Eubank has here is that Korobov is quite small. Yeah, and even though he's 5'11", in terms of his body mass, he's quite small. He's smaller than a James DeGale, maybe even smaller than a Billy Joe. Certainly smaller than George Groves, a hell of a lot smaller than that. That may help Eubank Jr. because against the smaller guys, even if they're technically good, he can impose his physicality upon them. We saw that against Billy Joe, actually, in the second half of that fight. Even though Eubank Jr. was getting outboxed in the first half, in the second half, he just imposed that physicality on Billy Joe, and that gave him a lot of success. So, you know, if I had to pick a winner, I would lean towards Eubank. But again, he's fighting in the United States. I know he trained and sparred and stuff like that in the United States for years and probably still does. But it's different when you got a fight. It's different when you're on the undercard of Jamal Charlo. Different type of pressure, alien environment, different expectations. Will he freeze? He's frozen at least once before. In fact, for me, he froze twice. Once against Billy Joe, second time against George Groves. Will he freeze a third time here? Because of the atmosphere and the tricky opponent and all that kind of business. If he does, he's going to lose. If he doesn't freeze, maybe he can grind out a tough, awkward points win, or maybe stop Korobov in the second half of the fight. We'll see. Or maybe he's improved so much that he will make it look easy. I'll be impressed if he has. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Chris Eubank Jr. versus Matt Korobov. How's this fight going to go? What are you expecting? Is it a potential banana skin? Is it a fight that you think he should be matched? Is it the opponent, that you think he should be matched with for his first PBC fight in America? Do you think that they've done him dirty? Because that's what Eddie Hearn, for example, is suggesting, that whoever's managing Chris Eubank Jr. is doing a terrible job by putting him in against Matt Korobov and having him be so inactive, because he has been very inactive. He wanted to fight several times this year. Obviously hasn't worked out. This will be, his second fight this year? The DeGale fight was in 2019, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Yeah, 2019 in February. So 2 fights. He wanted 3 or 4, didn't he? Off the top of my head. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. It's happening. I'm out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.